The Aliexpress sale has begun and I have one of the hottest watches from this year into review today. An automatic compressor style diver from Berny for just £83. But the real selling point is how good this thing looks. Hi guys, my name's Jason and I'm your watch guy today. There's always something that stands out in the sale period. I think that this watch is one of those this year. Berny have dropped this one to just over £80 and I think for the quality that you get with this piece, that's a really good deal. It's available from the Berny official store on Aliexpress and they have sent me this one to show to you guys for review. I've linked them in the description, so if you're interested, you know where to go. Let's get into it. The official name for this watch is the Berny AM339M. Not exactly a catchy one. It's a compressor style, but it's more of an update on their previous inner rotating bezel diver. This watch is an example of them taking on the criticisms that they received from that piece and really developing that watch into something new. It's fantastic to have this one in because it's nice to see the evolution of their own design, not something that we always see from Aliexpress brands. This is cased in 316L stainless steel with a high polished bezel and brushed casing. The lugs have a small chamfer to them with a high polished finish, which separates the lugs and the casing itself. It's not a small watch by any means, as you may expect from a diver, so let's get into the dimensions. In diameter, it's 41.4 millimeters, 13.2 millimeters thick. Lug to lug comes in at 48.8 millimeters, and these lugs are 22 millimeter. The casing gives a very robust feeling to it, and I'm a big fan of this dual crown look, especially with this Berny because those crowns are much larger than usual, easy to use, and they have a nice little trim of orange for a little bit of visibility there that I really do enjoy. They're both screw down crowns and that aids this watch's 200 meter water resistance rating. As we probably expect at this type of price point, it is a sapphire crystal fitted into this piece. The case back is a display case back displaying the Myota movement packed into the back of it, and we also have a signed Berny rotor, which is a nice touch. The rest of the screw down case back is etched with the usual specifications that we expect to see. Let's be honest with ourselves, the casing is not what is drawing us to this watch, it's definitely what's going on inside. The bezel and dial have been completely revamped and they have a fresh feeling to them. The inner rotating bezel has some lovely stencil style numerals to it, and the 15-minute dive marking is highlighted in orange. That orange flows through the design into the minute hand, which I think is definitely a lovely touch. Bold and legible is definitely how you can describe that bezel. The inner dial also has a minute track printed to it. It is a more simple minute track printed in white. One feature that you may have missed is the date window between the 3 and 4 o'clock position. It's a colour matched date wheel, which means that it flows with the rest of the design and it doesn't take away from the symmetry or the aesthetic of the piece. We have a bold sword style handset on this piece, really easy to read. The outer edges have a large white border to them and they're finished with a skeletonized black bottom to them. One nice feature is that in certain lighting with this colour option, it almost looks like the hands can be floating at times. The second hand diamond tip also follows in those orange touches. Again, a really nice feature. I've got a feeling that this lume shot is going to be pretty good, and that's because of those sunken indices. So let's get the lights out and let's have a look. As you can see, the lume on this one is completely different to anything that you would expect on Aliexpress. The orange highlights are an added bonus. This one is pretty nuclear. I'm finding a hard point to settle on for a downside to it, but rating it out of 10, I think I don't have any other option but to give it a 10. It's done something completely different with the orange looms. It is bright as hell. It's well spread, it's well applied. I think this is going to be the first Aliexpress watch that I've ever given a 10 to. Well done, Berny. Let's move on to this bracelet. I think it's definitely worth mentioning that these are male end links, and that does add to the lug-to-lug wear on this piece. This is a push pin bracelet, and the levels of brushing and polish really do nicely match up to the watch itself. The outer edges of the bracelet are brushed and complement the lugs really nicely. As well as that, we have a high polish center. It's a H-link bracelet. I'm a big fan. Usually a H-link bracelet will fit much better than other styles on wrist. The clasp is a very simple one and it has a milled fold out. As I always say, it's all about how it feels on wrist. So let's get this one on. This is a pretty substantial size on wrist. As you can see, that 13mm thickness definitely adds to my smaller wrists. The lug to lug is extended by those male end links. Overall though, it definitely wears better than you would expect it to. I personally think that this is wearable for my type of size. I am used to a bigger watch. That being said, I think 6 3/4 inch wrists and above would absolutely love this piece. Obviously, this is going to be a very popular piece in this sale period, and I hope this review has helped you make some decisions about it. If you're still questioning what you want to pick up, I released my top 10 video yesterday. That's definitely worth having a little look through to see if there's anything that catches your eye. Before we go, let's talk about the negatives of this watch. Firstly, it's a Miyota 8215 movement, and you all know the hatred that I have for that movement. It's completely outdated. It has no place in modern watchmaking. It's the equivalent of using bayonets and muskets to invade Russia. Cheap, effective 150 years ago, but absolutely idiotic. The clasp and crowns are unsigned, which makes this feel a bit more parts bin than I would like it to. At the very least, I'd expect a signed clasp. Finally, the vertical brushing on this case takes away from the watch so much. It gives it a very cheap effect. It's a really unfortunate choice because I can only imagine how much better it would have looked with a horizontal brush down the side of that. Overall, I think this is a lot of watch for under £85. This is a really good deal, even if it is a bit of a tank on the wrist. Thanks for watching, guys. I think it's really nice to see an Aliexpress brand update one of their pieces and refresh the look, especially when they're taking into account the community's comments. Speaking of which, let me know what you think of it in the comments below. If you're interested in picking up this watch or any other Aliexpress items during the sale, please do use the link in the description. It's been a pleasure having you guys watch along. Please do remember to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.